Hey guys, welcome to another project in the series of bag making videos. This project is another version of Cheela. This time we're going to step up another notch and learn how to put zippers. Now you might think, oh gosh, that's so difficult, I can't do it. I'll make it easy for you, and that's a promise. When you see that this pattern is actually made for cut and sew zippers, and you will be able to get a really neat finish just like I did. I promise you that. You may not get it the first time, but you will get it the second time. So I advise you, if you're going to use this, use it on the lining first and then on the main part of the fabric. And that way you would have got used to the first one, and the second one will be so much easier. As we go along in the project, I will explain it to you, the size of the zipper and how to use it and how to cut your panels. These panels are actually slightly larger than you need, so you can actually trim it to the size of your lining. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the project. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this into half. We are going to attach the handle just on the denim here, and the other side it will go on the printed fabric. So basing the edge of the join, you just need to go ahead and place your handle like so, and go and sew a stitch like an edge stitch. We're going to go and do on both the panels. Okay, here I have just attached the handles. This is just the stay stitch. Now looking at it, this is how your bag is going to look. At this stage, if you think you need a little decoration, this is the time to do it. You could just go ahead and sew some of the bias tape. What I really want to do is try and do, because the handle has got red and there's no red anywhere else at all. So I would like to give, I'd like to bring some color into the bag. So what I've decided is I'm just going to go and sew a tape across on the top. We can't sew it on the pocket here. If you sew at the bottom, it will have to be where your pocket ends, and it will have to go at the bottom like this. Go ahead and do it. If you want a few different strips, you could do like that. You could go across, or you could attach any other color if you want to bring a third color in. So go ahead and do it. Before we go ahead and do it, what I want to tell you is it is important when we go and join the side seams, it's important the bias binding will match. Okay, for that sake, we can do the matching when we start and finish, but we can avoid doing it again at the end of each panel. So I'm just going to flip this over and go and sew a 1/2 inch stitch from here to here, starting and finishing with the back stitch. Come back and open the seams. So then I will have one long panel to work with. If you're a beginner, till you get very confident, I would always advise you to go and pin before you sew, because prevention is better than cure. We have attached one side seam, so let's just go ahead and press the seams open. Now we have the rest of the bag. What I would like to advise you is, instead of marking it, let's just go ahead and fold it and make an iron mark, so we can sew the bias binding quite neatly. Okay, so just do like that. If you're not confident that you're folding it properly, just go and measure. I'm folding about 2 inches. Now you can see the crease line. All you have to do is go and place the beginning of your bias tape on the crease and go and pin. And all you do is go ahead and pin all the way through, and place your pin in the center so we can sew on either side. So let's do that and go ahead and sew a top stitch on either side. When you do this, just make sure the width of your stitch is the same as on your handle, because then it will all match each other and it looks very neat. Okay, I have set the needle position like before, how I did my handles. So let's just go ahead and put a top stitch. Remember to keep your eyes on here, not on the needle, but on this attachment, and guide it through the edge of the binding. Okay, we're just about to come to the end. So when we come to the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave about 1.5 to 2 inches and leave this open. You will see why we need to leave this open later on. Okay, let's just turn around and go and sew. Leave the same gap on the other side as well and go and sew an edge stitch. We have sewn the binding on the top of the bag. Now what we are going to do is bring these two side seams together and try and close the side seams. Okay, now because it is cut on the pattern, what you need to do is, remember we left a little bit without sewing. Now this is going to come handy, because what you can do is you can just move it slightly so it matches your side seam perfectly. So one binding is sitting on top of the other, and that's a perfect match. Okay, hold it and place a pin slightly away, and now you go and sew a stitch from there to there, starting and finishing with a back stitch. Okay, let's just go ahead and do it, and I will come back and show you. When you open it like this, you will see it's a perfect match. And once we've done that, we're just going to go and close the seams later on. Now I'm coming to where the bindings are going to meet. I double check again and just go and sew on top. Okay, I have sewn in the side seam and I have also pressed the seams open. As you can see, the binding is now matching. There's probably a millimeter of difference there. It's not perfect matching, but that's good enough for me. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and sew 1/2 inch stitch at the bottom of the bag, starting from here all the way till here, starting and finishing with a back stitch. We are also going to go and sew the lining and put the right side of the lining to the right side of the other panel. So these two needs to be right sides facing each other. Place them like this. Go and sew 1/2 inch seam, starting and finishing with a back stitch on both the corners. And after we've done that, you have to sew the bottom seam. When you do your bottom seam, you have 2 notches at the bottom in your pattern. We start off from the edge, going to the notch and do a back stitch. Then you're going to jump all the way to the other notch, start with the back stitch and sew, and then finish with a back stitch. Okay, we're going to start off at the bottom seam and sew a 1/2 inch stitch. And now we're going to go and sew the side seams of the lining. Now we're going to sew on the bottom seam. So start off with a back stitch and coming to the notch, and I've finished with a back stitch. Then jump all the way through, go to the other notch, then finish with the back stitch. Same way, I'm just going to go ahead and finish sewing the side seams. Okay, if you remember the first project, the tote bag project we did, we are going to press the seams open exactly the same way. Because this is at the bottom, you have to put either a hem or a sleeve roll inside. And if you have one of these, it is very handy. You can put this in and then press the seams open. That makes it so easy. If you don't have one of these, it's very easy to do. Just roll up a towel and then put the towel in, and then you can do exactly, you can get the exactly same finish like I am getting. Same way, we are going to go and open the seams for the lining, both on side seams and also at the bottom. Before you do that, because there's no seam in the center, just make a fold and just make a fold and iron it. So if you start ironing from one end, just make a fold like so, and then we turn over and then fold the other side and then make another fold. So basically there's no seam in the center because we are going to turn the bag inside out later on. So there your seams are open. Okay, there's the lining, there's the main part of the bag, all the seams are pressed open. Now what we're going to do is we are going to turn the lining over, and now that's the right side of the lining, which is what you will see when you open your bag. So now let's just put this in. Let's put the lining in like so and match the side seams to the side seams and put a pin. Now push your handles in because it will come out later on the same way on both the sides. At this stage you need to make sure that the lining is fitting the bag perfectly. If it's not fitting perfectly, you might have made a little mistake in the side seams, which means you might have to unpick the seams and make sure both of them just kind of match absolutely perfectly. This one's absolutely fine, so I don't have a problem with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pin, and we're going to go and sew all around. This will be 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch stitch. Okay, we are going to close the mouth of the bag, so let's just go ahead and sew. This is about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch stitch. We're going to go and start somewhere in the middle, and when you come back to the starting point you have to sew over a little extra and finish. Okay, we have sewn the mouth of the bag. Now what we need to do is turn it all inside out. Before we do that, we need to close these corners. Okay, when you open your lining like this, what you're going to do is take this corner and hold your corners so the seam on this side is matching to the seam on this side, and place a pin a little bit away. Okay, now we're going to go to the matching corner on the other side, then take the corner like so and open your seams. It's already open, and just make sure that you hold the open seams and place a pin. If you don't want to, then just bring the two together like so. Hold in. I'll remove the pin that I've placed before, and now hold all 4 layers together and just put a pin to hold it inside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go and sew a 1/2 inch stitch, starting and finishing with a back stitch. Okay, that's how the seam looks, and let's go and sew on the other side as well. Okay, both the corners are now sewn in, so let's go ahead, and you have a big hole left at the bottom of the lining. Let's just bring everything inside out. Just make sure at this point you've not left any pins out, and push these corners because it's very important. And I did once where I left the pin inside and closed everything, and I had to open and take the pin out again, which is a nightmare. So we are left with this gap. What we're going to do, we're going to hold it in like this, exactly the same way how we did in the tote bag. Go and sew an edge seam from here to here. Okay, okay, I have moved my attachment as close to the needle as possible, and where my gap opens here, I'm just going to start from there. Start from the very edge I'm now coming to the end. We have just sewn the gap we had left at the bottom. Let's turn it over. If we had a zip on top of this bag, this would almost be a handbag. Now what we need to do is just pull your handles, and we need to go and sew a top stitch, because otherwise this is kind of going to look unfinished. So let me just go ahead and bring the lining out a little bit, and what we're going to do is press the seams open, so then we get a neat edge. Okay, let's just open it. And then this is a difficult process because we have closed everything, and you'll have to take your time to do this. Okay, once you've done that, we're just going to kind of use your fingers and strengthen it, and then open the seams and place a pin. And just go ahead, take your time to do this. It might take a few minutes, but it's all going to be worth it, because in the end you will have a beautiful, beautiful, neatly finished bag that you would be really proud to show off to all your friends. So let me go ahead and do this, and we go to the machine and we put about 1/2 inch away a top stitch. Okay, I have pinned it all around, and I have just decided, instead of putting an edge stitch, I'm going to go and sew a top stitch just a little bit away from the edge of this binding, so that kind of holds everything in place. Also, if you think it's necessary, you could go and put a top stitch right at the edge of the bag as well. So let me go ahead and show you how to put the top stitch on this one. I really don't need this foot, but because the foot's already there, I'm just using it. What I'm doing is I'm aligning the edge here to the edge of the binding, and I'll just go and sew a normal stitch all around. When you come to the starting point, sew a little extra and finish. Okay, we have finished the top stitching, and your color blocked beautiful tote bag is now ready. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you like the project. If you like this, give me a comment below, subscribe and hit the like button. I shall see you in the next project. Bye bye for now.